Commanders family, welcome into a very, very special version of Next Man Up. This one is special because we have one of the greatest to do it of all time. Not just the greatest to do it in a Washington jersey, but one of the greatest in NFL history to ever play the game. We're talking about wide receiver. One of your favorite wide receivers, I know that for sure. My good brother, Art Monk. Art, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Oh man, I'm blessed to have you here. I know you don't do a ton of media, but I know this is a very, very special occasion. So we appreciate you taking the time to jump on with us.
Sure, glad to be on with you.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir. And of course, that special occasion is getting your jersey retired. Now, your jersey is crazy. Your jersey is the only jersey, only Redskin jersey that a young boy grew up in California owned. I found it in like not a pawn shop, but like what a thrift store. And that
Yeah.
Art Monk jersey was hanging there looking good. And then I learned all about you. You became one of my favorite wide receivers. So first things first, thank you.
Oh,
But when
sure.
you think about that jersey, it's going to be retired in infamy now. What did it mean to you to find that out?
Well, obviously it's a very special honor. I started playing this game because I just love to play. I didn't think anything about, I didn't even think about winning. I mean, obviously when you want to win when you play the game, but I just loved the game that much. I just wanted to play it. And anytime I had a chance to do so, and just talking about when I was younger, I did. And in doing that, it just led me from one platform to another, and obviously into the NFL. And man, there's nothing like it. There's a high you get from it that you can't get doing anything else.
And that love of the game really showed. And I think that's why you were so beloved, but not only your teammates, not only the coaching staff, but this fan base. Where did that love of the game come from?
I don't know. I
Mm.
grew up in the streets of New York, White Plains, New York suburbs. My friends and I, we grab a football which was half inflated, and we play in the tackle in the street, on the cement, and that's we didn't have any place else to play, and it just grew from there. And I joined the Pop Warner team, and I wanted to play wide receiver, obviously, but they put me at offensive defensive tackle, and I didn't enjoy that, so I didn't play anymore after that. And it took my friends to when I got into high school, it took my friends to kind of convince me to come out again, to start playing again. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I did. And I was back on the offensive defensive line again. But I also started running track. And when I ran track, I lost a lot of weight and I became faster and quicker and more agile. And they couldn't put me in the line anymore. So they had to find another place for me. And so wide receiver is where I ended up. And I just kind of grew from there.
I don't know the name of those friends that got you back into football, but I feel
Yeah,
like the whole organization
right.
owes them a few checks because imagine
Absolutely.
you not playing football is insane.
That's right.
So when you're on the street, right, you're playing with that half deflated football. You have dreams, I'm sure, of one day making it to that next level, being in the NFL. But could you have ever dreamed of that moment when you're in your garage with your peers, with ownership, and you're finding out your jersey is going to be retired?
Not at all, man. It just my love for the game never took me that far because I didn't think I was that good, or neither did I think I would ever become that good. Like I said, I started as an offense and defensive lineman. I thought that was kind of where I would stay. And when I got into high school, I joined the track team, trimmed down, lost a lot of weight, got faster. And so they couldn't put me on the line anymore. So they put me at receiver, tight end actually, and it just kind of grew from there. And but no way did I ever think I'd end up where I am now.
Well, sometimes God's plan is bigger than ours. And it was just so great to see you be able to be around the people that love you, the posse, Gary
Yeah,
Clark, who's
yeah,
somebody I've spoke to a bunch about you. He speaks so highly of
yeah,
you. Having them there, the posse, your people's there. What
yeah.
did that mean to you, knowing all the blood, sweat, and tears that y'all shared on that field together?
Well, I couldn't. I don't know if I would have been where I was if it wasn't for them. I was a great receiver, yeah. But those guys helped me in a lot of different ways. They took pressure, Gary Clark, Ricky Sanders. They took pressure, coverage off of me at times, which helped, open me up. And so, I mean, yeah, I can stand here and take all the credit, sit here and take all the credit, but a lot of the credit also goes to them and to the rest of my teammates because a team is a team. We couldn't do one thing without one could not do their job without the other.
And you hear that to every member of the posse that you talk to. And I think it's really cool that you were so good for so long. You got to be part of like two infamous groups, right? You had the posse,
Yeah,
and then you had the fun bunch. So I
yeah,
gotta
that's
ask,
right.
as like a fan, what was the difference between the two? And what was that like being part of those groups, man? Because those are some dogs in both groups.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I tell you what, practice, no matter where we were, what we did, it was just a lot of fun. We laughed all the time. And but we also took our job seriously. But during the off season, we just enjoyed being around each other. We fed off of each other. We challenged each other. We helped make each other what we ended up becoming. And so I owe a lot down, like especially with Charlie Brown, Alvin Garrett, Virgil C. You know, in the earlier days, and then Gary Clark came on, and then Ricky Sanders, even Calvin Muhammad came in from the Raiders, I believe it was at the time. Man, it was just we fed off of each other. We challenged each other, like I said, and just if it wasn't for that, then I don't know if I would have been what I became.
All right, it's so fly talking to you guys because y'all are literally like the best at what you guys did. But instead of talking about yourselves, y'all always find a way to bring it to the other guys. Gary was the same exact way. He had so much high praise for you. But Art, we're here to talk about you for a little bit. So I'm gonna switch gears now. We gotta show you your flowers and give you some love. I know
Okay.
you're very humble, but not many
Okay.
guys can have three Super Bowls with three different quarterbacks, man. As a receiver, we know that's tough. Some guys barely get it with one quarterback they play with their whole life. You did it three times with three different quarterbacks. When you look back on that and those Super Bowl runs and what it meant for Washington and this entire area, what stands out to you about those Super Bowls?
Well, it was just I immediately think of Coach Gibbs and just him always calling us together and saying, "Look, none of you are you can't go by you're not by yourself on this team. You're not alone. You can't survive. You won't succeed without the other." And so it was always that mindset that we always had to. It wasn't about me. It was about us as a team. And when I think about that, it was. I mean, when I look at if you examine every position that we had, if it wasn't for them at that position, we wouldn't have become what we became. We wouldn't have been able to accomplish the things that we did. And just the mindset that Coach Gibbs established for us, not just as an offense, but for our defense and for our special teams. And so we were all kind of just one unit um, that elevated each other up.
And it takes a whole team to find that success, right? But in order to be involved in success, especially through Super Bowls, you have to have longevity. You have to be on that field. And Art, that is something that I think everybody that knows you and knows your history knows this guy got it done. He was consistent. He did things consecutively. How though? How do you manage, especially in a league where we see guys? I think the average NFL player's career is like 4 years. How did you manage such longevity? And what advice would you give to up and coming guys trying to match that same type of production?
Well, first of all, you just have to be able to find a way to stay healthy. I mean, that's the first thing. You can't be out there if you're not healthy. If you're hurt in any kind of way, you're just sitting on the sideline watching. But for me, the off season was the most important aspect of my game. Just making sure I was well prepared physically, and then during the season, maintaining that and also being prepared mentally for the game. And so, I didn't take any shortcuts. I didn't try to, uh, take the short route to do anything. I did it the hard way, and I did it the way I was taught by the that first my rookie year, the over the hill gang that was there, when I was practice was over and I was walking inside, they say, come on. They pulled me back out, said, no, we still got some work to do. And so we would go over past plays, we would go over routes, we would go over formations, and then we do extra conditioning on top of what we've already done. So it's just always that extra that gave you the edge that we were hoping to give us the edge over our opponents.
And it's so great to hear the people from that Super Bowl era talk about the things that they needed to get those Super Bowls. You talk about that teamwork, that camaraderie, holding each other accountable. And when you think of all
Mm.
those things, it's hard not to see parallels from those teams to the team that we currently have. These guys talk about it. They're family. They believe in each other, the brotherhood.
Right.
Now you're able to see a Washington team find success. We're able to make it to the NFC Conference Championships, man. I gotta imagine there's a pride there. Be it somebody that was able to get all the way, be it somebody that lived through those rock star like Super Bowl wins. Did you feel pride seeing Washington back on top?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just, when you talk about family, we were family. And, when you're a family, you're close knit. At least that's how we were trained to be under Coach Gibbs' leadership. We weren't just individual guys that, came together for a moment to practice or to play. We were actually family. We did everything together, not only on the field, but off the field too. And so, yeah, when you see other guys have success and doing well and whatever they're doing on or off the field, there's a pride, there's a satisfaction that comes along with that.
You mentioned the word pride. I don't think there is a prouder fan base than the Washington fan base. I've talked
Mm.
to like Doc Walker, and he would tell me after a
Yeah.
loss, they'd be out there at 3 a.m. at the airport, just there
Well,
to cheer you on. Can you put into words what it means for this fan base with your history with this team to finally have success again and to have optimism for the future?
it's hard to describe uh, the our fan base. I
Mhm.
mean, there's just nothing else like it. I don't think and I've never experienced anything else like that. The love and the compassion and the commitment that um, the Washington community has for their team, for their home team. Yeah, every team says that. Our fans are the best, but I can't help to say that the Washington fan base is the best. And we would not have won the games that we would not have been able to accomplish the things that we've accomplished if it wasn't for them. I I I will step out and say that. We had talented guys, we had good coaching, we had everything else, but if it wasn't for that little piece, that little fan base next to us, I don't think we would have been as successful as we were.
And Art, you're not going to get any arguments from me. I've seen in real time how this fan base travels, how they show up for their guys. And a
Yeah.
big part of that resurgence right now is Jaden Daniels, having a quarterback like Jaden Daniels. Now, I said it to start three
Yeah.
Super Bowls, three different quarterbacks. So you know a thing or two about playing with a quarterback that knows how to win. When you watch Jaden Daniels and see what he was able to do his rookie year, what stands out to you and what makes Jaden Daniels special?
Well, he's athletic, he's smart, um, and and he knows his players. He knows who he can rely on, who he can count on. Every quarterback and every receiver kind of has their favorites, so to speak, sometimes. And but he's just a smart kid. Um, some quarterbacks you have to kind of teach them where to go with the ball. The quarterbacks you have to. I mean, he's the kind of guy that has it all, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so there's not a lot that you have to tell him or teach him what to do. He's got it naturally. Um, and so that's from my standpoint, that's a real good thing for
It's
them.
a great thing to have, having a guy like
Absolutely.
Jaden Daniels, an historic rookie quarterback at that. And I think it's really been great. Not only seeing JD Daniels come in, but see what this new ownership has done. I don't know if you've seen the new Super Bowl era alternate jerseys that we
Oh,
busted
no,
out,
no,
but
I haven't.
to me, that speaks to the way that this ownership and this organization honors its history, honors its past. When you've
Yeah.
seen the way that they've been able to bring guys like you back in, Gary Clark, things of that nature, honoring some of our best to do it. What does that mean to you? An ownership that hasn't been here long, but understands how important that history is.
Well, in order to move forward, you always got to understand your past. And this ownership understands that and is able to prepare um, and do the right things to move it forward and to continue in that direction. And so it's as a fan, as a former player, it's great to see that they understand that and they're doing all the right things to try to get us back into the that mode of success and elevation and moving forward and doing great things as a team.
And a big part of that honoring the past is raising that jersey up, that number 81 jersey up. Art Monk, you will have your jersey retired. Now, we haven't gotten there yet. However, can you explain to me and the fans what it will mean to you to see that 81 go up there? See that Monk go up there, man. What's that going to feel like for you?
Well, I gosh, it's really, really hard to say. I've been sitting here these last few days just trying to digest it, digest it all. And yeah, I think about the past and the games that we played, and it's they're acknowledging me, but I was football is a team sport, and so if it wasn't for the Ricky Sanders or the Gary Clarks or the Charlie Browns or the Joe Theismanns or the Mark Rippons or the Doug Williams and the offensive line that we had that was so great, Jacoby and Russ Grimm and Donnie Moore and the others, Rollo McKenzie. It's I could not, I would not be here. Well, I'd be here, but I would not have had the success that I've had. And there are great receivers on other teams or have been on other teams, but didn't have that type of support that weren't able to display and show the success that they could have had in their careers.
Well, Art, it's definitely a team game. However, it can't be taken lightly what you were able to do for so long, what you were able to do for not only this team, this organization, but what you're able to do for the entire DMV community, this fan base. Art, you mean so much to us. So I cannot wait to see you honored on that day and to know that nobody else will be able to rock that jersey that only Art Monk can truly wear. Art, thank you so much for your time, brother. We appreciate you. And
Sure, man.
again, you deserve all these flowers that you're getting.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
looking forward to being there.
Yes, sir. Commanders family, our next man up, one of the greatest in the history of the game to ever lace him up, Mr. Art Monk. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you too, man. All right now.